Hi all, I have another amazing game to show you. This is by Gallagher, and it reassures us that the test server being sent to TSEC does understand fawn pawns, so no need to panic. As long as we've got coffee and it understands fawn pawns, things are fairly okay. So this is T161 with a 1080 graphics card against Vajolet 2.5, I believe, which is a top 30 ranking chess engine according to one of the computer chess rating lists. Let's have a look at what happened. D4, the opening book was given to both engines to explore a human well-trodden start position in the King's engine fianchetto variation. So these are all the book moves given. So here's c6, h3, queen b6, c5, this has all been seen before. D takes e5, temporary pawn sack with e6, very dynamic start position. Knight g5 hitting the pawn, knight e5 defending the pawn, and that was the last book move. So a very interesting position to explore, full of dynamic imbalances. So that's the fun of chess. Often different openings create different imbalances in the position to explore. We have Leela T161, test server 10161, playing f4, knight f7. Now knight takes f7. If the bishop's not careful, it will be locked into the pawn chain here. For example, like this, it looks as though that might be unpleasant. So perhaps this is the reason why the check was inserted first. And now rook takes f7, and now e5. So that locks down at least this bishop for the moment and gives that nice e4 square to white. Knight c7, but black has the d5 square. It's not all bad for black. Knight e4, knight d5. We have here h4. So this is a very nice idea to try and undermine this little pawn chain around the king. Black plays on the queen side with a5. We have a4. Queen a6, putting some pressure here on this diagonal. h5, bishop d7. Now knight d6 is played here, which does vacate that e4 square as well. You might think taking on g6 is attractive as well. But white needs to be able to move the king sometimes away from the h file. This could be dangerous with a rook h7. If this was taken immediately, there's potentially a very dangerous rook move with check, which would be potentially embarrassing. So timing is everything as well. So knight d6 first. Now we have rook g7, which you might think, hang on, is asking for the dreaded fawn pawn with tempo on the rook as well. How outrageous a move is that? Instead, why not rook e7? So this is why not. In the game, rook g7 was played, but we can see here rather hg. White can get out of that lethal h file with this move, bishop e4. So if there was a check, there's a comfortable king g2 here. And if black really has to defend ultimately g6, this is really nice for white anyway. King g2 is handy anyway for rook h1. This position, the tactical takes for knight e3 check, can be sidestepped with advantage here by taking on d5. And even if this is an exchange sack, this is very, very powerful here. This position for white, this is a very powerful attacking position. For example, like this is an example. White's got a big advantage. So that kind of plan is very, very nice to be able to take bishop e4, king g2, rook h1, regardless of the tactical tricks black has there. So we have rook g7, h6. So really, the fawn pawn, all of that fun on the h file, just self-sacrificed. Is it really worth it? Rook e7, we have bishop d2. Well, the way I see the fawn pawn, or rather we've seen together as well in previous examples, is that sometimes the fawn pawn can work with an attack on the 7th or 8th ranks, rather like a football, European football, when people take corners. The ball is kicked from a corner right to the goal. So the goal's over here, though, not in the centre. But imagine the goal's kicked over there. You just need attacking forwards to just head it in or kick it in. But usually, often they're heading it in, the ball in. So this pawn is like an attacking player, not offside, but they're ready for the 7th or 8th rank to be, pass the ball. So will we see that in this game? b6 is played. Here, if that protects that pawn, because if bishop takes, there's rook b1 with a backfire on b7. So this position, white's doing nicely there because the knight's holding the rook. So that probably explains some of the reason why b6 was played. We have queen g4, just letting the b2 pawn go now, because actually there's a very, very nice idea emerging here. So bear in mind my European football metaphor. Rook a e1, for the moment not being tempted by rook b1, because I believe there's some issues anyway there. Well, issues are addressed here. I mean, this is protecting the center. Queen a7 is played, queen h4, and now the threat is bishop takes and queen takes e7. Just to put that on the board, if a casual move, then bang, bishop takes d5. Sorry, not with that, not with this casual move, because that protects the rook. But I wanted to just quickly show you rook d8 as a terrible casual move, takes, and then we can take the rook. So black's move addresses this threat by playing bishop e8, protecting the rook. However, now is the time where rook b1 is played, and we have a potential overload here because the queen is protecting the rook, the knight is also protecting the rook, but the queen is also protecting the pawn. So guess what happens here in this position? The tactical amongst you who like to conjure up tactical disasters might sense an overload of the position here. So what could you play tactically to get back into the game here with a big advantage? If I give you 5 seconds. Okay. Bishop takes d5. Weakens, it means the queen's the only one protecting e7, which means now there's an overload tactic. Rook takes b6, trying to distract the queen away from e7. We have rook d7. That clearly can't be allowed for the queen to come in and threaten mate. That would be a total disaster. That would be the goal. A goal is about to be scored here because knight b7 interrupting, threatening queen g7. Bishop f7 trying to interrupt queen g7, renewing queen g7 threat. The king tries to make a run for it. Knight d6, and this is just really horrible now. Say queen d7, rook b1. This is crushing. For example, like this, it's a massacre. So basically, in a nutshell, that can't be taken. So rook d7 is played, rook fb1, and we see now the 8th rank. Yeah, this, even though this closure on the h file, we've got this rank attack now in conjunction with the Thorn pawn, and black gets desperate here by playing rook takes d6. There's a big threat of rook b7 in this position. In any case, it's absolutely lethal. Rook b7. So black gets really desperate with this exchange sack. Queen f7. But now rook d8. Yeah, parking on that first rank now. Rook takes, queen takes. So we see the 8th rank attack, a familiar pattern we've seen before with the Fawn pawn. It's this, neural networks don't memorize stuff. They abstract all the patterns and they can reuse them as their palette in other games. So it's no coincidence we're seeing this same pattern, Fawn pawn plus 8th rank attack. It's a learned pattern, and it's like European football. I think a metaphor can be seen with corners, except the goal is on the right rather than the centre. That's the only difference. Queen e7 is played. Okay, white the exchange up now, just takes on a5, not fearing the queen's coming off. g5 is played. If the queen's come off, this is still really good for white. I'll give you some examples. If g5, then we can, well, g5 is pretty hopeless, but let's say king f7, check, and taking, that's hopeless as well. Or let's say this, bishop takes a4, then check, discover check, bishop g7, and here rook b7 check, bishop f6 as an example, rook b8. Eventually the rook comes to torture h7, and then we've got a winning, the Fawn pawn becomes a queen, potentially in this variation. So yeah, it's yeah, in the game G5 is played here, not exchanging off the queens. G5, white takes off the queens anyway, check, takes on H7, so this pawn is only 2 steps away from queening. Bishop's cut out of the queening square. Rook A7, so now the big threat is H7 actually to queen, so we see this bishop C2 to stop that, but H7 anyway just wins the bishop, so this is all over basically, Bowler shouting. So F5, it's all over. White's just a rook up. Black's pawns are not really going anywhere. The game continues a little bit. Here black resigns basically in effect. 1-0. So, brilliant news there from Gallagher that the T161 does understand Fawn pawns. No panic. It might be able to secure, hopefully at least, 2nd place in Division 4. Otherwise I'll be a bit sad and we'll have to wait till the next TSEC season. But if it can get, if the T161 can come at least 2nd in TSEC Division 4, then we get promoted to Division 3. 1st and 2nd get promoted. So I wish it all the best in the upcoming tournament battle. It might have, in theory, because the main server has been growing so rapidly recently, well, consistently, the main server at the moment might have some small edge in some matches seen, but if it's like only about 30 rating points, I believe the T161 could do it, could do the job that we need. Comments, questions, likes, shares appreciated. Thanks very much.